Okay, we're going to put a wall light here, and we're going to put a switch with an outlet down here. And we're going to mark our box. We're going to put our light right here. And I enjoy forgetting my pen. So we're just going to be thankful that we have a screw we can mark our holes lines with. And we're not going to get all worked up. We're not getting all frustrated. So we'll start here in the bottom. And we'll get our other corner over here. And we'll get our top one up here. And we'll get our other one over here. There's the top right there. Okay, now we can just go down the side, around the perimeter here and make it easier to cut with a keyhole saw. Okay, so now we'll take our keyhole saw. Cut across. Go across here. Get it all in there. And we'll see if our box is going to fit. Okay, we're going to take a little off the bottom. Okay, our box is going to fit here. Now we'll trace out our one down here. We're going to put a switch outlet combination in. And we'll put it right here. So we'll go across the top. We'll use this line for our guide. Okay, so we'll come down through here like that. So I see where we're going to cut it. Okay, so we will drill a hole in here. Well, you know what? There's a stud there, so we can. But you don't get all worked up over it. You don't get all upset over it. You just come over and we'll put it right here. I just wish I had my pen, but wishing doesn't give it to you, so just be thankful for what you have and just do the best you can. There we are. Here's one. Where's our line right here? Okay, now we'll take our saw and we'll cut our hole out. Okay, we got a nice hole here. Let's see if our box is going to fit in there. And it's just going to fit in there nice. Screws. Same up here. So we're going to drop our wire down from that hole up there. Okay, so we got our 14-2 wire coming down with the power. Now we'll get our 14-3 to come down here to our switch. So we'll bring it down. I'll take this, I'll put this end up into our light. Just going to make sure I don't have any damaged insulation in here. And I don't. So I'll bring this end up to go to our light, because we're going to need the ground wire to be longer so we can go to the box and come out and go to the light fixture. Oh, it doesn't matter. I'll do it this way. It's easier to go down. So this is the box we're going to be putting in here. So we will open up our openings here. Make sure our screws are nice and tight. Okay, so we'll put our box up here into our wall. We'll bring our wires in. And we'll just tighten up our clamp here. We'll use a short screw so we don't hit our wires up here. So we'll put one here. And we'll put our longer one down here. There we go. Now I'll put our box and our one down below here. I'll put our shorter screw over here where our wire is. And I'll put our longer one over here. So we have this box ready to go here. So we'll rip our outer jackets off here. There we go. Gotta get all our debris out of here. There we go. Make sure we get all our debris out of here. Okay, so we'll start wiring our box here for the light and the switch loop. So here in the country I was born in, your black is live, your white is neutral, red and blue are also live colors. However, you may find white live in a switch loop or in a 220/240 volt circuit where the appliance does not require a neutral. But we're running a red, black, and white down to this box below because we're going to have an outlet in it, so the white is going to be neutral and the red and black are going to be live. So first we'll get our ground wires together. We'll bond to our box. Okay, this box already has a screw in it, so we're going to take this one out. We're going to take our clamp out of this box here because we don't really need it in here. And I believe it's a 1032, so we're going to put our ground screw back into this hole. So we're going to cut a ground wire here, and we'll make a loop the direction our screw is going to turn, like this. We'll stick it back in here. tighten it up. Make sure it's nice and tight. And now we'll get all our ground wires together here with the one that's going to go to our light fixture. And we'll just clip it off so all our ends are even. So we're going to put a red wire nut on this. Make sure our wires all stay even inside the wire nut. Right, that's why I hold the tail wire there. Okay, so now we can get our ground wire back into our box and get it out of the way of everything here. So I'll fold it so it goes in nicely. So I'm going to get back out of the way of everything, get all the way in the back here. Okay, so now we'll take our blacks and our whites, we'll hook them together. So we'll get our blacks, so we'll strip them with our 14 gauge hole here. So we'll get our insulation even at the bottom here. Get them even like that. We'll twist them together. Like that there. See how we're getting a nice even twist. Our insulation is even at the bottom. And our copper is going to be even on the end when we clip it there. And we'll put we'll use a yellow one here. And the whites, we'll put them together with our tail wire to go to the light. Okay, so we'll get our insulation even at the bottom here. So our wires are all nice and evenly twisted here. We'll clip our end, make sure all three are even on the end there. And we'll put our wire nut on. And now we'll get our light fixture up here. I just love looking for stuff. My favorite thing to do is look for stuff. Okay, Okay, so we're got our light fixture here, so we're going to clip our white wire. So our white is going to go to the light, so I'll strip some insulation off there. I'll make it a little shorter because we're using an orange wire nut and it's only 18 gauge wire. So this is what we have here. Power is coming in on this black one and it's going down to the switch. And at the switch it's coming back on the red and it's going to go here for the light. So we'll strip our wires here. I'm going to strip them a little longer so we get a nice wrap around the okay, so we'll take our black wire. We'll get our insulation even at the end here. We'll wrap our strands around the solid wire like this. Get our copper even at the top, our insulation even at the bottom. Take our orange wire nut, make sure our insulation goes up into the bottom of the wire cap. And we'll do the same with our white wire here. Get our insulation even at the bottom here like this. We'll wrap our strands around our solid wire like this. Get our orange wire nut on here. I picked up on the light and there we go. Then we'll get our ground wire up here on our bare ground wire. This one is pre-tinned, so we'll just get our copper even at the end like that there. And we'll just twist it together. Now there's a bracket that goes on this box, but we don't have one. But I left the ground wire long enough to go around that green screw on the bracket, so we'll put our wires into our box and we'll just put the bracket on when we get one. But we'll just temporarily screw it with nice long screws off to the side here so we don't hit any of the wires. So we'll get our wires into our box. Oh, he is in Hawaii. Okay, yeah. Okay, so we'll put our wires into our box here. And we'll just make sure we get it up here with screw it in temporarily. This is going to be just temporary until we get a bracket. Make sure all our wires into the box so nothing gets hit. No, this is just going to be temporary here with this. That's just going to be temporary until we can get the right bracket for it. Okay, this is our box. It's going to have the switch and the outlet in it. Alright, well this box already has a green screw in the back, so we'll go get it around our green screw so we're bonded to our box. A little too fat, so we'll just do it with our flathead. Alright, now we'll close our loop around that ground screw back here so it's under our screw head all the way around. Okay, so we have our ground, our red going back to the light, our black which is live, and our white which is neutral. Okay, so this device has the pressure plate terminals here. So the neutral goes on your silver screw, which is the wide slot, and your black goes on the brass screw, which is the narrower slot. So, and the power coming in is going to go to here or here. And the red one for the light is going to go to the switch. So we're going to strip our wires with our 14 gauge hole and make sure we don't strip them too long or too short. So we're going to bring our power in on this black wire to feed this outlet, and we will put it on one of these two darker terminals here. It doesn't matter which one, so we'll make sure our other one is closed tightly so the screw doesn't bounce around and hit something we don't want to hit. So we're going to just check our strip length. We have a good strip length, so we'll get our wire up. Get it. Oh, okay, we can strip that a little longer. And our ground wire is going to go around our green screw, and it's going to go the direction the screw turns. Okay, so we'll check and make sure our black wire is a good length here again. We'll put it in our hole like this. Okay, there we go. We have our copper wire down through the pressure plate all the way. We don't have our insulation pinched. So we can go ahead and tighten the screw up. There we go. Now this is the red wire that goes back up to our light, which is controlled by this switch. And we're going to put it in so that up is on, down is off. So we'll get it in our terminal there. There it is. That's what we want. And we'll come over to this side and we'll put our neutral wire under this silver screw. Just check our strip length. We have a good strip length, so we'll open up our silver screw here. See the copper up here going through the pressure plate? Make sure it's nice and tight. And we'll get our ground wire on our green screw here. Close our loop the direction our screw turns, like that. Make sure it's nice and tight. that. So there's all of our connections. And we'll just turn it back this way. So now we gotta just push our wires into our box. And I'll let you look at that side again. Okay, so now we can fold our wires to go into our box. We'll go down. Oh, now we're gonna keep this ground wire up this way so it stays away from our conductors. So I'll just go up and down this way with it so it stays away from our reds and our blacks and our whites. So we want them to go in kind of like an accordion here. And I want to keep our ground wire back over here so it doesn't touch anything. I'll push it back, make sure it's away from everything here. I'm just pushing on the ground wire, not our live conductors there. Here in the country I was born in, down is off, up is on. So I'll see if I can find another screw. And I'll finish it by hand so I don't strip my holes out. Oh, nice. My screwdriver's too fat. I'm going to make sure the device sets on here nice and straight, though. Okay, tight. Tight. And I'll just put a standard cover on here for an outlet. And we'll put a LED light bulb in here so they have some light. Okay, so we'll strip the end of our wire here. We'll open up our Romex connector hole here. Make sure it's on here nice and tight. So we'll bring our wire into our box here. So first we'll get our ground wires hooked up in here. So first we'll get our ground wires on here. They're very short, so you always got to put a wire nut or a crimp sleeve on your ground wires. Make sure it's on there nice and tight. Now we'll push it back into our box. That's the black one coming back up from the switch. So we'll get our white with our neutral here. I want to get our wires, get them even on the end here. I get them perfectly even like that right there. We'll take our wire nut and we'll just start twisting it. Make sure it grabs all three wires. Make sure it's on there nice and tight. We'll get our terminated wires up in here like that, get them out of our way. even like this here. Take our wire nut. I'll make sure they stayed even. Like that there. Get our wire nut going on here. Make sure it's on there nice and tight. We're going to make sure our insulation is up inside the wire nut here. And we'll put our wires back into our box here. Make sure nothing is going to be pinched when we put our cover back on here. All our wires are out of the way. Our screws aren't going to hit anything. And we'll put our cover back on here. And sometime when we get a taller ladder, we'll screw this box to the ceiling off camera. Alrighty, so that is how to wire a new circuit here in the country I was born in, from a junction box for an outlet and a light switch, where the power goes to the light first, then down to the switch, and have a neutral down at the outlet for the outlet, and the wire going back to our light is red. Peace. Thanks for watching.